Come all you moonshiners if you want to hear.
Well, this is part 3, and this is where we really get at the meat of what we're doing. So, first thing we have to do is we have to introduce the water, heat our water up, introduce our grains, transfer that hot water into our mash tun, and start our process. And remember what our process was the first 20 minutes we're going to be about 104 degrees, and then we're going to raise it up to 140 degrees for 20 minutes. Then we'll raise it to 155 for 20 minutes, and then after that we'll just do we'll probably do a 20-30 minute sparge, and then that should give us the efficiency we're looking for all the grains that we use. Remember, it was 15 pounds of grain. We got 8 gallons of water we're working with, so we're going to run out of water, trust me. I may even have to add a few more, maybe a gallon or two, just for that final rinse, just to make sure I get all of those fermentable sugars out of there. So watch what we do here. This is really, it's not a difficult process, but it is a procedural process. Again, it's a principle. Oh, these have such a rich odor to them. Oh my goodness. And yeah, I'm in the midst of going through the grinding routine, so you can see I'm getting all dusty. It's a dusty process. But this tends to, there we go. We don't want it real fine. Let me stop this for just a second and show you what I've got. See, and you're able to see that all I've done is really broken up all the kernels, and you can see the little white spots in there. We're actually inside the meat of the grain itself, and that's what we're looking for. All done. Now I got some cleaning up to do, because it's always better to clean while you go. Well, now that we've got it set, and I've got my hot water is there, 104 degrees, and I'm looking down at my PID, 104 degrees, and I've got my mash tun sitting here, and what I did was I just pumped a bunch of water in here and allowed that to run, so I've got a good circulation flow. Now what I'm going to do, okay, and this is the fun part, we're just going to add the grain. Now, what I've got in here is I've got a couple of screens to protect. I'll put that peated malt in there first, and that'll hold down the bed. Then I'm going to toss in the oats. And I guess the good question is, George, why aren't you just mix them? Trust me, they're going to mix. They're going to mix. You just got to give them an opportunity. Oh, but then my rye. And if you can recall back on another video, don't move. We used some rice hulls, and I'll show you those in a second here. And we use rice hulls in order to prevent all these grains from sticking together. Matter of fact, here's what they look like. And all they are is just the hulls. They add no flavor. They detract nothing from it. All they are is like fodder. It's like just having something else in there. But it prevents your grains, if you use these, it just prevents them from, like when you're doing flake corn, how it gets all mushy and sticks together. This will prevent that from happening. Use them sparingly though, because they do soak up a lot of water. And then last but not least, I've got to open up this bag of already malted 2-row. And let me turn this, now I'll turn the pump on in a second. I was going to show you how, there. So, if I reach down and flip this pump on, there we go. Yeah. And we're going to allow, what I need to do is shut the return valve off, because I don't want the water going back in here yet. It's at the proper temperature. You see how it's spraying in there? Yes, I'm going to let that thing fill up to probably, about 4 gallons or so, and just let it sit there for how long? Yep, 20 minutes. Then we're going to process it and heat that up to about 140 degrees, and then do the same thing, and then go up to 155 and do that. So that's what we're going to do. See you in 20 minutes. Okay, we've already been through our second rest. I'm at the final rest now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you a close-up look at this because this is at 155 and we're just sitting there. This is our last 20-minute rest period. And what phase would this one be? Exactly. That's that final period where all that alpha amylase is chopping up everything else and getting it ready and converting all those starches to fermentable sugars. Now, I checked the pH, and just as suspected, my pH was high when I started, so I adjusted the water first down to 5.2, and once I added the grain, I had to add a little bit of more citric acid because all those grains brought that pH back up to about 6.6, and so I just made a real quick adjustment. I've left it at that, and everything's fine right now, and the last time I checked it, it was the same way. So we're good to go. Let me get you a close-up so you can see what's going on inside our mash tun. See, so first of all, yeah, there we go. First of all, you can see what's going on inside our hot liquor tank. You'll notice that, that's exactly what fermentable sugars look like when they're heated up and they start to formulate, those little pockets of bubbles and stuff on the top. So, and that is just the water that we've circulated out of the mash tun and back into the hot liquor tank to remain hot. Go. Now you can see in here, you can see all those grains just sitting there and soaking away, doing their cooking. And again, you've got the same effect. You've got, see all those bubbles and all that foam on the top? That's an indicator of just a bunch of sugars. So, we'll let that sit for about another 10 minutes, and we'll be ready to go through some serious sparging. Test. Well, I think you can see that. We're at 5.1. Okay. See, my process is over. And I've gone through the last 20 minutes. And so, God, that's sticky already. I can feel that. I think I got a really high efficiency level here. What I'm doing is the very last step. Now, remember we talked about this. We went through 104, 140, 155 in 20 minutes on each point. And then now I've turned off the heat altogether. So I'm just circulating. That's all I'm doing is circulating. And we've got, you see there? This is known as sparging. So I'll sparge this, and now I got to keep an eye on this, and here's the reason why. The reason why is because I've got a pump that's a whole lot more powerful than I really need. So it actually pumps into here quicker than it drains back into there. Look, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So what is my process? What I'll do is, here in a few minutes, and I just keep an eye on the level, and when the level starts to get really low, I'll just turn the pump off and let it drain some more. Then I'll turn the pump back on and let it go. I'll probably only have to do that maybe, because I'm watching it, it's pretty steady, but I'll probably have to do that twice. My gosh. I enjoy sharing this. I enjoy demonstrating this, and now the proof is in the testing. So we've got a lot of hot stuff that we're gonna have to put into my mini brew, because I got that, remember that 8-gallon fermenter. I'm gonna load that up, and then I'll run some cold water through that cooling coil to bring that temperature down. And what am I looking for in that? You guessed it. I want to try to drop it about 90 degrees, pitch my yeast, and allow that to get started. It's a beautiful thing when you put it all together. We'll be right back. There, now you can see there we go. Yeah, you can see the liquid that's just being transferred back into that hot liquor tank, and then you'll notice that we got that right elbow that causes that whirlpool effect. And then all of that liquid runs down to the bottom, back out the hose, all the way back up to the top, and then right back in to the mash tun. And all we're doing now is sparging. Well, okay. I've measured 1.0, let me look at this, 1.070, and then I went to the computer and I used the the chart to convert that, because that's at 155 degrees. That's kind of rather hot. And what that does is that converts it to, because they're calibrated at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, at 1.090. Yeah, surprise. So I got the full 85% efficiency out of that. I was kind of expecting to get a little bit more, but right now I'm pumping from here. I'm pumping, let me show you this. Well, that kind of brings us to a close, it looks like. Pumped everything from my hot liquor tank, and it looks like I've got about 6 gallons in here, and we're at a little above 50 degrees centigrade. So that works out to be like, what, 125-ish, 127. We're starting to cool down, and this should be good. I've got a lot of foam on top. The peated aroma is something that's really appealing at this point. And then, so I'm just going to let this cool down for another, gosh, I don't know how long it'll take. But matter of fact, I'm going to use the cooling head that Jeremy sent me, and then all I'm going to do is add yeast to it. So the only update you'll get from this point, because you understand we have to go through the fermentation process, and then of course the clarification process, and I don't want to wait that long to post this. So we will be back with you when it's time to run this through the still and produce our version of a scotch. Happy distilling.